Welcome to Therapy Facts with Dr. Jenn. We are talking about why go to therapy in the first place. Point number 10 is marriage. When we are considering marriage, whether it's engagement, whether it's planning the wedding, or even if it's married already, marriage is a good reason, is a good topic for going to professional psychotherapy. So, when we are talking about marriage, it is a big deal, not only for the people who are planning to marry, but also for anybody that they are bringing into the marriage with them, including family members, including children. Marriage itself is worth a whole series, but we're going to start here. And so when we think about getting married, we think about all the changes that occur and all the responsibilities that come with being legally bound to someone. And so the consideration of what that means and what the consequences are definitely worth talking about over and over again. I sometimes ask people to think about all the reasons why they shouldn't get married. That's a twist in the road. But being able to consider all the reasons to get married, well, that's a positive bias. When you think about all the reasons not to get married, then that begins to bring some objectivity into the conversation. Now, just because we love someone does not mean that our lifestyle or our personalities are matched, are compatible. And so, very often, people get married to people whose natural personality styles, their natural energy level, the way they problem solve, the way they deal with stress, all of those things are incompatible with their spouse or with their partner. However, we tend to think that if that person loves us enough, then they will change those very natural, very ingrained elements of themselves when we get married or after we get married. If you love me enough, you'll change for me. Well, that is the biggest setup that never gets old. It's like a Ponzi scheme, right? Ponzi schemes never get old. People figure out how to do them over and over from year to year. And that's the same thing with marriage. When we think that our partner, who came to us as a whole human being in whatever capacity, is going to somehow be a whole different new person after we get married, is ludicrous. But again, that's something we think a lot. And so going to professional psychotherapy to have a conversation with yourself and to have a conversation with the person that you are thinking of marrying is a very good use of your time, because you have a therapist who is going to be non-judgmental, who is going to help you really figure out what it is you want to do in terms of marriage and how to do it. Very few of us come into adulthood with any of the skills that are required for a successful marriage. And we think that just because we get married, those skills are going to miraculously appear. Well, guess what? They won't. So if you are someone who does not have an adequate amount of self-awareness, or your spouse doesn't, if you and your spouse do not communicate clearly and easily, if you are not aware of your own love language or your spouse's love language, and you have no idea how to find out. And again, if your spouse has some very natural personality, energy, person types of elements or characteristics that rub you the wrong way, then those are things that need to be addressed in therapy, preferably before you become legally bound to someone, and at least before you embark upon a long lifetime or a lifetime of years with someone with whom you're not compatible. Lack of compatibility does not prevent someone from falling in love, people from falling in love, but lack of compatibility should cause a pause in the conversation, in the consideration of whether and how to spend the rest of your life with the person. So again, professional psychotherapy as you're planning your wedding, preferably, and certainly as you are trying to manage your marriage in the very least.